Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Self-Checkout Show. I am your host, Pastor Will. It is good to be back with you all tonight. Before we get started with our show, I must say today was a rough day for many of us. I don't know why it is, but some celebrity deaths, if I can say that, I don't know these people, but some of them, for one reason or another, they hit a little harder than others. And today we learned that Stephen Boss, aka Twitch, of course, we know him for being the DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show. And also he rose to fame on the show So You Think You Can Dance. We learned today that at 40 years old, he has passed away. He passed away on yesterday. His wife confirmed that to CNN News. Her name is Allison. She said, "It is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to share. My husband, Stephen, has left us." Stephen lit up every room he stepped into. He valued family, friends, community, and above all else, leading with love and light was everything to him. She says he was the backbone of our family, the best husband and father, and an inspiration to his fans. We definitely want to say that our hearts go out to Twitch's wife, his 3 children. He has 3 young children, his family, all those that knew him, all of us who loved him. Our hearts go out to him, to his family. Let me say this. I've seen a plethora of posts today. I even shared one myself that kind of just says that you never really know what someone is going through. You don't know what's behind the smile. You never really know what a person is dealing with. So people, it pays to be kind to people. It pays to be kind. It pays to be nice, because that one bad thing that you say to somebody or about somebody could be the one thing that pushes them over the edge. So please be kind to people. And also, especially to my brothers out there, let me say this to you. It is okay for you to share your thoughts, your feelings with someone that you know and that you trust. It's okay. It's okay to seek God and to have a therapist. That's okay, y'all. Reach out to somebody. You are not in this alone. You are not in this alone. Everybody, I want you to know that there is somebody that you can talk to. Some of you don't want to talk to church people, pastors, members, because you're afraid of the breach of confidentiality. I get it. And that's okay too. But I do want you to know that if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts or mental health issues, please, if you're not comfortable talking to a pastor, a clergy person, a friend, a family member, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number is on your screen right now, 800-273-8255, and you can be connected with a trained counselor. If you don't come back to this show to watch the replay, to get this number again, you could also simply dial 988 or text 988, and that will also get you to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I want to say that I am concerned about you, and I need you to be concerned enough about yourself to reach out and get the help that you need. Now that that's done, whoo, that was a little emotional, y'all. Now that that's done, I am absolutely, thank you, Elder Tevin Haynes. I saw him on. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? My girl, Apostle Aisha Oliver, is on here tonight. I kind of had a feeling that she would step through the self-checkout line tonight, but she is on. So glad to see you. JP, good to see you. Charlotte, if you could put John's comment back on the screen. John Stenner said there are online support groups. Online support groups, yes, for all different types of issues plaguing people. That is absolutely true. I'm so glad to see each and every one of you, my friends, my family tonight. We are here. We're going to have a great time, and I love you right back. Ayo, love you right back. We're going to have a wonderful time tonight. Listen, just one brief announcement. One brief announcement. This Saturday, guys, this Saturday, the self-checkout show, our very own show, is hosting our pre-Christmas raffle. This Saturday, the drawing is going to be held live on Facebook at 12 o'clock noon, and we're giving away 3 fantastic cash prizes. That's right. The first prize is going to be $750. The second prize is going to be $500. And the third prize is going to be $250. And if you have not reached out to myself or one of my teams or staff to get your tickets, you're missing out. You got to take a little chance. Tickets are only $2 per ticket. One book of tickets is $20. I still have some. I still have them right here. I got some left. So you can reach out to me and we can do it virtually. You pay for your tickets. I put your name and information on this stub, and I will take a picture of it and send it directly to you and put your stubs in with the rest of them so that you can have a shot at getting some Christmas cash, baby. All right. Tevin said he'll take 5. All right. Tevin, I will reach out to you after, or actually the ways to give are going to be scrolling across the screen all night. So you can send your donation to either one of those, and I will reach out to you after the show tonight and give you your tickets. Apostle Oliver says she wants 10 tickets. All right. We will reach out to you as well. Thank you, Apostle Oliver. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We want as many of you all to get in as you can because we only got a few days left. All right. That's it for the announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored. And when I say honored, I really, really mean this. To have on this show tonight the likes of this young lady who I literally can say I watched her grow up. And she, my goodness, is no longer little Alicia, Lord, little Aisha. She is full grown and she is doing marvelous things in the African American community. I'm glad to say that I know her and she is on my show. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Aisha Oliver is here. Hey, girl.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I will not complain. It won't do any good.
It won't do no good at all. I'm so glad to have you on. I have been trying, y'all, these comments throw me. Charlotte, if you could just put John's comment back up, you know what? Y'all play all day. Y'all nuts. Get that off of my screen. Oh, my goodness. Tevin told your mama to stop trying to win, Aisha. Oh, man. Listen, y'all, when I tell you I'm serious, we really kind of came up together. Well, no, that's a lie because I'm way older than her, but I did kind of watch her grow up. Yes. We have years and years together. Her family and mine came from the same church. We served together for a number of years under Bishop Jeff Davis and the Word Works Church. And your mom, who is everything to me, I love that woman, Felicia Oliver, is here on our show tonight. I also saw Pastor Tina Davis Key on tonight. Hey, my friend, how are you? My sister, that's my Rev. I love you. Thank you so much for being on tonight. So, Aisha, I've gone through I've looked at your website. I've gone through your Facebook. I was stalking a little bit. I said, let me see what all is going on. And when I say you have a lot going on, you really do. And I am deeply honored that a young Black woman has said in so many words, I've got to do something for my own community. So I do label you as an activist. Do you consider yourself to be that?
You know what? I never considered myself to be an activist, only because I felt like this is what we should all be doing. You know what I mean? I just felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, which is being active in the community in which I live, and that raised me. So, I feel like I have an obligation, I have a responsibility to this community to do the work. So I've definitely gotten that title, active organizer, all of it. But I really, from my heart, I felt like this is what I was supposed to be doing.
I do remember the days of Black America being outraged from the George Floyd death. Mm-hmm. You were very, very vocal about that. Tell our viewers, tell my viewers why you were so vocal about it and what that particular situation meant to you.
You know what? Honestly, it was a representation for me of just how far we thought we had come, only to be slapped in the face again. I really wanted to be able to show the young people that I have been able to mentor and to basically cuff in my community that the only way change is going to happen is if you step up and be that change. And what I saw was people who didn't look like us coming into our community trying to tell us what we needed. So instead of just accepting that and allowing people to come in and kind of, try to steer us in a direction, I stepped up and told them that, not that help isn't wanted and not that I don't believe in having allies, but we are not a helpless people, nor are we a hopeless people. So we don't need your hand-me-downs or your help. What we need is self-sufficiency. So I pulled on my people to get up and stop being lazy. We got to clean our own house first, because if we allow, that's a quick way for things to shift in our community when we don't stand in the gap and start to do the work ourselves. So I just wanted to be an example and pull people in and say, okay, if they out there tearing up the streets, when it's all said and done and everything, calms down and the smoke clears, it's going to look like a tornado hit it. So how do we come back from that? What are the next steps? We hear a lot of talk, but what are the action steps? I believe in action. So if you're not talking about putting your hands, in it and doing the work, then, 9 times out of 10, I won't be involved in it. So I want to make sure people are doing the work, because we have too many kids behind us that need us to lay this foundation. So I just got up and did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, and you are doing it very well. Everybody that's viewing, I want you to, right now, I want you to share this, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, you can't share it. But share this to as many people as you can. Do that for us on tonight. Aisha, you also, coming from the church, one thing that I do know and have noticed about you is that you believe in holding churches accountable for being vocal and stepping up as well in some of these situations. I think that one who I see often in the limelight speaking out is Reverend Ira Ackery, who is affiliated with Reverend Jesse Jackson and, Rainbow Push Coalition and all of that. Let me ask you, what do you think the church can do or should do to help further the cause of our communities?
For me, when I think of it as a whole, the crazy part is yesterday we had someone post the same question to me on a call with the principals of the schools in our area. And he asked, what can the faith-based community do? Like, what are we missing? And I said, if we're going to be completely honest, I said, without you all taking offense, I'm going to be very honest with you. There is such a gap between my generation and the younger generation and what the church is, that they've lost complete connection to a lot of these young people, including myself. So I don't consider myself, I'm not a religious person, but a spiritual person. I am absolutely a spiritual person. What I see a lot of is we have thousands of churches in our community. I live in Austin, which is the largest community that make up the 77 in the city. We have thousands of churches, but in those thousands, we still have the highest rate of homicides and drug dealing and police shot spotters and all of these things. We have all of these things. And I'm not saying that the church is responsible for, but at what point do we come outside the walls and meet the people where they are? Because they're not going to, a lot of them, they're not going to come into church. Yeah. They're not going to come into church. So during the George Floyd riots, my calls to action was to not only residents and community members, but to churches, because what I realized is many of them are here on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday, the church is closed. So how are you really being a benefit to the people who may need prayer or who may need a space? So over the past 3 years, I will say this, I've met some pastors and faith-based community members that really allowed me to express myself, and they open their doors and they open their hearts. I met a pastor who wanted to, during the pandemic, he asked people in his church, who can he connect to? Because he didn't want his church to be closed while the pandemic was going on and those kids had to stay at home. Yeah. So someone brought me in and he took all the pews. He took everything out of his church. He removed everything. And we brought in tables and chairs and we turned the church into an e-learning center. Wow. So the church was being used Monday through Friday. We brought in college students to help, those kids. But it was also his way, because he grew up in the neighborhood and because of his father's legacy, he wanted to continue that. And he was honest in saying that he didn't know how to do it. So he wanted to connect with someone who could help him see that, who could help him do it. And then another pastor from North Lawndale came, and every time I took over a corner, because we started taking over corners where they were hot spots in the summer. And there was a pastor that every time I looked up, he was showing up. And he was like, this is what I've been waiting on. I've been waiting on this. Not, the congregation and all of it. He was showing up. And after his second time showing up, his members started to show up and take corners with me in our neighborhood. So there are, many of them who are out there who probably just need to have a real conversation where, pride is taken off the table and we're talking about what's really happening, because we're losing kids every day. Yeah. We're losing kids every day. We're losing people every day. And the church should be open for more than just service and funerals.
Yeah. What do you mean when you say taking corners?
So the corner takeovers were, we looked at where the hot spots were. So there was an increase in shootings right before the pandemic, leading into the pandemic. So what we did was, and drug abuse, right? So drug abuse shot up. It shot up. We had to make sure that instead of waiting on like the police and things like that, why are we not taking over the corners that we know are issues in our neighborhood? Like if they feel like they can stand in front of a store where kids are walking to the store or elderly people need to get to this space, if they're taking over somebody's block and they standing on a block that's full of elderly people who don't have the energy to go out and say, hey, we want you guys off of this corner, then why are we not taking over the corners? So that's what we started to do. I put out calls to action. We did corner takeovers. We went to the spots that were hot spots. And I mean, to be completely honest, a lot of the people who were out there doing their thing, they would just kind of move out the way. You know what I mean? There was no friction, anything. When you see that many people coming, we playing music, we got food. People are asking if they need prayer. So, I welcome everyone, but the goal was to make people aware of how we need to do things. If you see a group of people standing on your corner and you don't say anything, your silence just approved what they was doing. So we have to start taking back the spaces in our community and reactivating them with positive things. If there's nothing happening on that corner other than drug dealing, then that's what comes behind that. Somebody gets shot, all types of things. And that's what was happening. There was a kid shot in the corner store on Central and Lake, and they kept the store open that same day.
Wow.
The store is closed now because we sat on them until he got tired of going back and forth with us, and they got tired of seeing us out there. So the store is closed. But you have to have people who are willing to do that. Like, that's a time commitment that some people are not willing to make. There's no money attached to what I do. Right. This is an effort to make. I don't want to have to get big to put back into my community. Let me be a living example of what we need in our communities, from within our communities. It's not that hard.
That's amazing. Good evening to my mom. Hey, Mama, I see you. Good evening. Kimmy, my girl, Kimmy, what's up? I'm glad to see you. Thank you for being with us tonight. Tell me about this virtual background that you have. Who are these people I see?
These are my babies, you guys. These are my babies. They're not babies anymore, but they are absolutely my babies. So this picture is from this summer in our safe zone. So I started an organization when I was maybe 21 called Root to Fruit Youth Foundation.
Yes.
After reading a book that really opened my eyes to what my purpose was here on this earth in this time. And that was to be for children what I needed when I was a young person. And so I created Root to Fruit after meeting some young men from Austin High School that really inspired me to want to create spaces where they could not only be themselves, but where I would have the opportunity to help to develop them. So the goal with these young people that you see behind me, this is actually my third generation standing behind me. Wow. Most of these kids became a part of my group when they were 9 and 10 years old. They're mostly 20 and 21 right now, and they're still doing this work. So this picture is from this summer where we did a back to school event, our closing summer event within our safe zone. So these young men and women that you see behind me helped me to create a safe zone within our neighborhood. It's a mile long. We designated this safe zone as a space where everyone is included. It's very much intergenerational. We picked this space to make sure that the area that all of us met continues to be a safe space for any kid coming into the neighborhood or any kid growing up in the neighborhood. So it includes our park district, our public library, our senior facility, our church, and a high school, and now an elementary school. Wow. So in that space, what we did was we went around, we did walking tours where these young people went and they came and got people and they took them on a tour of this 1 mile safe zone, just showing them what these spaces meant to them, why they're important, and why it should be deemed a safe zone. We are now, this will be our third year going into 2023. We have the pastor from the church, Father, it's actually a Catholic church. Father Chris helps us with everything. His administrator, Jose, helps us with everything. We garden in the back of the senior home with Miss Maria, one of the seniors. She's teaching the kids how to grow their own food. So we go, once a week, they're in the garden working with Miss Maria. The seniors were very much held up during the pandemic and couldn't come outside often. So we do all of our events right across the street so that all the seniors have to do is walk out the door and come over and enjoy whatever we're doing. We do live music. We bring bands out. We do things for all the kids. So we activate our safe zone all summer. All summer, we're activated in our safe zone. We basically took back an area that a lot of the guys have started to kind of travel into and just kind of linger. So we went and had a conversation with those guys, told them what it was that we wanted to do. They agreed, and they come and hang out with us while we're out there. So there's no friction, but it's beautiful to see that this is being led by these young people. It's created by them. We have hoodies on. All the hoodies say ASAP. That stands for the Austin Safety Action Plan. The back of the hoodie say Protect Our Hood. Protect Our Hood is the code that we created together. So We went over what the old Chicago gang culture was and how they had a structure and a code to everything that they did, and you couldn't go against that code. So I taught them about that, and then we looked at each one of the old gangs' codes and their laws, and we figured out what we would want to protect our hood and how we could make this a code that everybody abides by. We are 2 years in, Pastor Taylor. We got some emails from Chicago Police Department that said numbers don't lie. And when we opened the email, they showed us that in the 2 years we've been doing this work in the safe zone, we've decreased shot spotters, shootings, violent calls, 30 to 52% in our safe zone. So we're going on the third year. You won't hear it or see it on the news because, you know, when it's something good, it rarely makes the news. But if somebody would have gotten shot, they'd had my kids' faces plastered everywhere. But we're working on year 3. Our goal was 3 years straight of decrease so that we can go to people and say, we have a strategy and we know it works.
All right. Everybody, again, I am asking tonight, this is very, very important for the African-American community in Chicago. Everybody, please share this tonight. Good evening. My sister Jensine is on. Glad to see you. Thank you for being with us tonight. According to your Facebook page, the Root to Fruit Youth Foundation page, it says that is a community-based nonprofit organization that's dedicated to serving Chicago's youth. The organization has earned the love and trust of the youth in its very own Austin community. Through creative initiatives that demonstrate an understanding of positive reinforcement and life skills, you are shaping well-rounded, productive young adults. And according to what I've read and heard, you are doing just that. And tonight, we really, really want to salute you for doing what you do. You are really making a difference in the lives of these people. And I want to say thank you for that. I really appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, before we get to what we really here to talk about tonight, there's a comment that Tevin Haynes made. Charlotte, if you could put Tevin's last comment on the screen, let's talk about this right here. Right there. He said, Aisha, older woman. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Can we?
Yes. All right, Tevin. Look at it. Tevin knows me well. I'm deep into it. So yes. In September 8th, I announced that I was running for 29th Ward Alderman, which is the ward in which I live in here on the West Side. And I was ready. I mean, we hit the ground. We started getting signatures and things of that nature. Now, it is not unfortunate. Not long after I made my announcement, another opportunity which came from outside of the state of Illinois presented itself to me. And I had to do some deep searching to figure out if I wanted to take that or continue to run for alderman. And I just, maybe a few weeks before my signatures were due, I had a really great conversation with an elder that I, trust with these things and I knew wouldn't lead me wrong. And they helped me to solidify my choice, which was to step out of the race. So I stepped out of the race, and I did instead say that no matter what, I'm going to support one of the other candidates. Like, I'm not one of those people where there was no bad blood. I spoke to them, let them know, hey, I'm going to step out, but I will still help and support, another candidate. That's either way, we have to get the work done. But this other opportunity, which I can't say much about, I think until January, maybe even February, but it allows me to do more for Austin and bring more resources to the Austin community without the restraints of being a city elected official, right? When you're working with the city of Chicago, our politics is really, really tough. Which I was ready for that seat. I was ready to get on city council.
I know it.
Take it up. I was ready to shake it up. But, that's still something that I'm going to go after. But at this time, I feel like this opportunity is probably a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it probably will never come again. And this also allows me to really stretch my hands to bring and put a laser focus on not just Austin, really the West Side, because we've been hit so hard and we are super underserved. This will allow me to really put a magnifying glass on the West Side and bring things here that we have not been able to get here just yet. So it definitely takes me to another level. And I'm just glad that somebody mentioned my name in a room that I wasn't even in. And it brought this to me. But it'll also allow me to be an example for these kids, because I've been training them to take my spot. So somebody in this group has to replace me. I will not be in this forever. Absolutely want one of these kids to take my spot. So someone else is going to be alderman of the 29th ward. There are 3 men running. So we'll see. But when it comes to being within politics and things like that, I'm super involved. I do tons and tons of work within our community. So my voice will absolutely still be heard in that office for sure.
Because I did notice that I did not see the ad for you running anymore. I noticed that you had pulled that, and I also saw who you support now. Yeah. I saw the candidate that you are behind. So kudos to him. And we are rooting for you. We know it's going to be good. I can't wait till the official announcement happens. My mom says we need the CPD to show up more in the seniors community. Please let me know what I can do to make this happen. So I'm sure you may have some resources or someone that she can connect to. She is currently, my mom is currently the president of the Senior Citizens Building where she lives. She's given that role up within the next few weeks, but everybody's still gonna come to her. They've been doing it for 20-something years, so they're going to come to her anyway. So maybe you and my mom could connect, and you could give her some resources that can help her with that.
Absolutely.
My apostles are on. Hey, Doctors Kurt and Linda, they are on. They say that they salute you and your vision and your community work. Those are my pastors. I love them dearly. So you guys, we have talked about Aisha. We have talked about Root to Fruit, and I'm just going to say this. Woo, Lord. When we 30 years, excuse me, 30 years. She said ain't no 20. It should be about 32 to be exact, mother, because I think I was 16 when you do the math. Y'all know how old I am now. Whatever. Good evening. My brother Ken is on. Hey, man. Growing up in church, y'all, we didn't see the building fund. We didn't see the benevolent offering. We didn't see a whole bunch of stuff to raise money, because the church does need money. Church got bills like our house. I get it. We do a lot of things to fundraise. We do revivals and stuff to get people to, come to church. And Aisha, you remember some of the stuff that we used to do. We've done some of everything.
Yeah.
But there is a very unconventional church venture that's going on right now. According to AtlantaDailyWorld.com, well-known Atlanta pastor Jamal Bryant, we all know him, said that he wants to start growing weed, marijuana, that loud, in the church, in his church, in an effort to drive more Black men to church. On a recent episode of the Cool Soror podcast with Rashawn Ali, Pastor Bryant, who is the lead pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, explained that he hopes to launch a cannabis business on the church's grounds to teach Black men entrepreneurship and entice them to attend service. This is what he said. He said, I'm looking for people that smell like weed, New Birth is the largest land-owning Black church in America. My position to the deacons is, why are we not raising cannabis? His comments left everybody shocked and shook, but he continued to explain. He says, I'll be able to bring in Black males. They'll be able to do it legally. I'm teaching them farming. I'm helping them to enhance the ecosystem. This is the kind of conversation. So if the guy, Black boy and Bankhead, said they growing weed in church, where do I join? I don't need no pamphlet for him, he said. Now, Georgia's law, I'm still on this article, Georgia's law is much more limited than some other states' medical marijuana laws. For example, it doesn't legalize the sale or possession of marijuana in leaf form, and it doesn't authorize the production or sale of food products infused with low THC oil or the ingestion of low THC oil through vapor. It does not authorize physicians to prescribe marijuana for medical use. It is intended solely to protect qualified persons from criminal prosecution for possessing low THC oil for medicinal purposes. Oh boy. Now, before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, and I'm going to find it, I want to quote what my guest said about this situation. All right. Aisha, you said, church, can we talk about this? Like, really talk about this, because I agree with him. Why wouldn't you get into one of the most lucrative businesses? This is why I believe religion can be blinding. This is about economics, not religion.
Mm-hmm.
So you are one of, and when I said I was laughing with my best friend, I said, I got the right one tonight. Laugh about it. You strongly back Jamal Bryant's idea, and I want to know why. The viewers want to know why.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, even if it wasn't, Jamal Bryant, if it was another church or a pastor or, clergy that wanted to do this, I would still say that is actually a really good move. Here's why. When you think about how many billions are made off of marijuana, legalized marijuana, it's literally, the tax alone is funding so many different projects and developments that we as Black people are not involved in. The reason that I said I supported him was when he mentioned how much land that the church owned. When he mentioned the land, that was what actually kind of, made me say, well, this might not be a bad idea, because one of the things I do know is that with the Black church, and whenever I speak, I'm speaking to my people and about my people. I can't, we have to clean our house first. We have been in many ways barred out of the marijuana business, but it's most of our relatives locked up for marijuana right now. This makes so much money. For example, here in Austin, we are right next to Oak Park. Austin doesn't have a dispensary. We don't have anything even close to a dispensary, but weed is being sold on every corner in this neighborhood illegally. They are making so much money in this one dispensary. And this is just a dispensary. This is just a location to go in and buy weed. He's talking about producing it and selling it to someone else, not direct pickup drop off from the church. He's talking about growing it, and then it's not being sold in his church. He's going to probably sell it to a dispensary and they will sell it. So it's not like he's saying, hey, I want all of my congregation to start smoking. That's not what he's saying. If you look at it from an economic standpoint, a year, maybe two of this could bring in enough funds for him to literally build a small community because of what comes in from marijuana. There are many. I've thought about it myself. There was a young man who recently wanted to buy a building here in our neighborhood to bring in his dispensary from California. And in there, he wanted to teach young people how to grow and how to package marijuana. And I thought it was an amazing idea, considering I know the kids that I deal with smoke. I deal with kids who are from the hood, from my neighborhood. I would be a fool to think they don't smoke. I smell it sometimes when they walk past me. And I told him, I said, you know what? We have done such a we have not done our due diligence with one, educating ourselves on marijuana. Many of the people who shun it probably smoked a joint when they were younger. So there's such a stigma attached to it that everybody's scared, to say that this might be a good idea if we look at it from an economic standpoint. Now, what I would advise him to do is to separate the church and start like a corporation with sidebar of the church where you separate it, because I already know it's going to twist folks up to say that, the church is doing this. But what about when you start a different business and you are able to employ people to do this work and grow things? Even if it wasn't him, I can almost guarantee you that there are pastors that don't look like us that's already in this game. They not.
I agree with that. I believe it wholeheartedly. I do believe that there are black, white, whatever nationality pastors who on the side are a part of the business. I do believe that. But here's my question. He does have a lot of land. But if you are, let's say, if you're one of the older saints who don't believe in none of this nonsense, then the African American community, which is where his church is, we suffer from high blood pressure, diabetes, various things. Why not grow some fruits and vegetables and things on the church grounds? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can understand probably how a lot of church goers are looking at him sideways, because and I'm one, and I will say that I don't agree with it. I say if you're gonna do it, then do it away from the church, right? Because these other big name pastors and churches and stuff, they ain't gonna have that stuff on their church grounds. They probably got their money tied up in some big corporation, and they keeping their name out of it so their hands can appear clean. So do you not think that he could have possibly chosen another way about this?
I mean, there's like two ways that this could have been done. With what he said, here is what I think the part about religion being blinding sometimes. The times change. The times change. He is in Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, Georgia is a black metropolis. I went to college there. Every rapper, everybody that want to be a rapper, if you're in the entertainment industry, anything of that nature, I think what he's trying to do is there's a demographic that he's trying to reach that a lot of people can't reach right now. And we being completely honest, with that demographic, there's going to have to be a shift. You're going to have to change some of the ways and some of the things that the church has had in place for years to make sure that, it has somewhat stagnated the church. When you're not able to shift and change with the times, you're going to be stagnated. Change comes when you're uncomfortable. Change only happens when you are uncomfortable. If you're comfortable in the space, you're not changing. You're not growing. You're not developing. I no matter who it is, I look at it. I'm always going to look at it from an economic standpoint, because I'm thinking about how many of our people, one, are in jail because of this. Now it's legalized, and you can walk into a store and it look like an Apple store, and you're buying marijuana. So I want to always look at when he mentioned, I think he said something about, I'm looking for those people that smell like weed.
Yeah.
Who knows what demographic he's gonna reach with that statement? And it's going to burn some people up who are so deep in religion that they just cannot fathom the idea of a pastor saying anything about marijuana. But you can walk in. Let me tell y'all how deep it is. You go to a church where they having a funeral, and as soon as you walk in, weed hit you in the face. That's because that's what's happening. Most people are using it either for, a lot of people are doing it for medicinal purposes, but the majority of the people are doing it for recreation. And I get what how people could feel that way. But even if you are talking about growing food on the land, do you know what he would have to do to get people to understand what it is to eat healthy? Black people have been eating bad for hundreds of years. We're not going to undo that with one farm. We have a whole bunch of black farms right now, and gardens and everything else. And we still see a hike in high blood pressure and diabetes and all of that. After church, you know what people going to eat? They ain't going to look for a vegan restaurant.
I am. I'm going to eat.
They going to eat right after, and they're not going. They're not. There's a very slim chance that they're going to look for something that is nutritional to eat. That's how things have been done. So what you have to do is sometimes you have to take, that part of it out and say. And first of all, I told my mom too. We had this conversation, and I said, with the right partners and a different court, and he starts this separately from the church. If people, took away his position and said, okay, well, this is probably going to be something. Let's be completely honest. Would he be as successful if he was trying to just teach these kids how to plant food and things of that nature? They don't get it in their schools. It's not available in their communities. It's not. You can't walk to a corner store and get an apple or an orange or a banana. You can't find it anywhere unless you are going intentionally to a grocery store to look for it. So sometimes I think we get in our own way because of religion. Y'all please don't ever believe that these big name pastors that don't look like us are not involved in this game. This is a money maker. This is making billions for people. And it's going to be uncomfortable to even think about. But how educated are we as a collective, as Black people? How educated are we on what the marijuana business does and what it brings in? Y'all, it might be some people in his church, elders, that need it and probably have medicinal cards to use it for whatever illness and ailment that they may have. So I don't want people to look at it and say, you know what? No, God didn't say this or God didn't say that. We talking about a plant that was here long before us, that was being used before it became popular among rappers and entertainers. But I want us to really sit down, and I think a lot of it is just it's just conversation. It's really just conversation. Sometimes the disconnect is that people they put their blinders on and they don't want to hear it. What they said is right. What the Bible said is right. And sometimes you just have to sit down and have them hard conversations and learn from people and really try to get an understanding, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen either way. Even if it's not him, it's going to happen. Do we get in on the business and benefit from it? Or do we allow religion to keep us stagnated in a place just because we said God didn't say that?
My mom says change is necessary, but it needs to be the change that's going to better us. Mm-hmm. What do you say in response to that statement?
Absolutely. Change that's going to better us. That's where the hard conversation comes in. Because you have to think about it sometimes when you have been taught or you have moved in a particular way for say 20, 30, almost 40 years. It's hard for somebody, if you've been in a job for 30 years and then they bring in somebody new and this person comes in with new ideas and new ways of doing things and it's probably, speeding up progress and productivity. That's going to make somebody that's been there 30, 40 years a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's gonna make you feel a way. And that's what happens. It's not to say that marijuana is not destroying people. Marijuana is not destroying people. When it's ignorance destroys us. Ignorance destroys us. All it takes is a conversation and education. We, as a collective, Black people, we stagnate ourselves because we refuse to be educated on certain things. If the same way you can sit and have a conversation about Bible class, why wouldn't you bring in someone who is educated on the marijuana business, how it works, what you can yield from it? Why not bring someone in to have that conversation? It's just a conversation. And if you walk away and still feel a particular way about it, then that is something that you have to sit with. But what I say is you have to educate yourself first. You have to educate yourself first. You can't just be against something because it doesn't sit well with you or because it's not something that you're used to. Growth actually happens when you are uncomfortable. It could actually better a whole bunch of people if they understood it better. He's not saying you go out and smoke it. He said grow it. Teach people how to grow it. I mean, you think about it, he in Atlanta, Georgia. You know how much weed is being sold in Atlanta, Georgia? They're a tourist town. They have spots that you go to when you get there to purchase the stuff that for you to have for your vacation. If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? He's talking about a particular demographic that he is dealing with. Atlanta is unfortunately going through a lot of the same issues that Chicago is going through right now with their young people. So I think he's looking at it, you know, I hope his heart is in the right place because we know he has a reputation. That's why I said, you know, even if it was somebody else, I would still look at it from an economic standpoint.
He in fact does. Yeah. Oh, he does have a reputation.
He got a reputation.
Because this marijuana business that he may be going into is not the only reason he's in the news this week. That's a whole nother story, but he being Jamal. But because of that, his reputation does precede him. Ken says, I feel that he's opening the door for more destruction. Aisha, I don't know if this was a good move for him, doing it on the church grounds. I just don't know if I don't think that was. I don't think it was. I don't know the ins and outs of the business, but I say again, if you're going to do it over there somewhere. And, you know, but at the same time, he says, and I have to agree with this part, that if I do this at my Black church, I can get more Black men. I kind of think that would be an incentive for smokers to come. I don't agree with the idea, though, of him doing it at the church, because watch this. What if I said, oh, well, I may not drink, but I'm going to open a liquor store. You know, how people are going to look at me? You know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily agree nor think it was a great idea for New Birth, the church. I think, and you're right. I do know. I was listening to, I think it was 103.5 a few weeks ago, and they were talking about the business. And because I'll be honest and say I'm ignorant to this, I was alarmed at the number, the dollar amount that this business makes per week. I was blown away. So I get it if a person says, I need to invest in this because it's a lucrative, very lucrative business. But me, and I'm not just saying this, Aisha, because I'm a pastor. I'm saying it because I just don't agree. I don't think it belongs in Christendom. So I think that's where the disconnect may be for a lot of people. If you can separate that and do it as Jamal, I ain't nothing to say. I don't. That's your thing. Do your thing. But I think that maybe it should be separate from the church, if that makes any sense.
It does. It also made me think about they've made it so hard for Black people, particularly Black men, to even get into the business.
Okay.
That if he was to try to do it off the grounds, he's got to purchase the land. Here in Illinois, you need at least $500,000. You need at least $500,000. They've made it so that like there's so much red tape that it's hard for us to even get in the business, right? If he owns his own land, that's one thing. That's one less thing he has to do. Then on top of that, he has the backing of, he already has the finances.
Look at
right?
that.
1.5 billion.
50% in cannabis sales with 1.5 billion in the past fiscal year. Wow.
Billion. Now, how much of that do you think we saw?
Yeah.
That's not us. That's not many of us. How much of that do you think we saw? Because that is feeding different communities. The tax on it, I was just telling my mom, the tax that they put on it is so outrageous. They have no choice but to make money hand over fist. So there's such a bar. I know recently I was in a meeting with the city. I'm on the mayor's African American Engagement Council, and they were announcing that rapper Twister recently bought the Old Moanoink on Madison.
Really?
Right? So they gave him, Mayor Lightfoot gave him $4.5 million towards a grow plant, which is he's going to turn that into a place where he's not selling it, but he's going to grow it. That is huge for our community, because what that's going to bring in, here's what he can do. From him creating that business right there, he's going to be able to create multiple businesses, both east and west of on Madison Street, to add value and create a business corridor just by putting that right there. That's a huge, and his entire team are made up of Black men from this west side, from the city of Chicago. So if you got a record, if you got any of those things, you can't even get in the business. So, teaching them how to plant and how to do things, because either way it go, people gonna do it. They're gonna use it. They're gonna be involved in it one way or the other. I think it's the stigma of what marijuana does and what it is. But there are people who are sitting in the church right now who might have hit a vape before they came in, and you wouldn't know it. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say there's so much education that has to be done around this topic, because, we're in a city like Chicago. For him to get that backing from the mayor, it really does speak volumes. And to get, 4.5 million towards this new business, this is going to bring so much revenue to this community. And our community has been hit bad over the last 50 years of being underserved, with all these Black elected officials in office and all of the Black leaders and clergy. No one's been able to really shift the narrative of this community. So it's going to take for you to shift the idea of what economic looks like. To a lot of our elders, economics is getting up and going to get a job. That's not the reality of Gen Z. That's not their reality. They don't learn how to make money from them cell phones. So if we want to keep up and you really want to connect, you're going to have to shift your mentality of what, religion and all of those things. It can be blinding to some people, and it will stagnate us. That much money, 50% of that much money in one fiscal year, and you couldn't tell me where that money trickled down in the Black community. Where did it trickle down to?
Billion.
That's amazing. And it didn't hit, I bet you it didn't hit the South and the West side. Yeah, I guarantee it didn't hit the
probably
South.
Probably not. My pastors said one thing for sure: as time goes on, this industry will skyrocket in locations and sales, just like alcohol has since the prohibition. I believe they are right. But Dr. Kurt, Dr. Linda, don't y'all think about it. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, all right?
They say, hold on, the math ain't math. The math ain't math.
We need y'all to stay hope dealers, not dope dealers. Amen. You all, I promise you, I could talk to this lady all night long. She's so smart, so intelligent, and I want to say that I am extremely proud of you, of what you are doing, what you have done. You have made strides that I have not seen many young African American women make in the community. I'm so, so, so proud of you. I hope that one day you'll be Kamala. I hope that for you one day. Um, Look, T, hey girl, Tanya Batiste Thomas is on. What's up, my girl? So Root to Fruit Foundation, Youth Foundation. You are the director of. How can the people reach you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, please. The website is being redone right now. We need to edit our new pictures, but on Instagram is root two, and that's the number two, root to fruit .youth on Instagram, on Twitter, as well as Facebook. Please tap in and follow us. I have so many young people. And if you all know, this is the hardest generation to really connect with and tap into. And that's why it is so important to me, because while I have these kids' minds and hearts, I want to do right by them. So I live what I tell them instead of just talking about it. But this Saturday, if you all are available, if you know kids who may need toys, every year, the week before Christmas, we do an event called Ruby's Roses. This is a holiday event that celebrates both community, but also we uplift awareness around mental and behavioral health in the Black community. Ruby Humphrey was a homeless woman who lived in our neighborhood. She used to sleep under a viaduct, and we basically became family with her because all the kids would have to pass her every day going to school. She was unfortunately murdered in North Lawndale by someone who had mental health issues, a young man who was suffering, and he took her life. So we've been using this as a way to highlight, killing and just alleviating the stigma of mental health in the Black community. We want to make sure that you all are able to come out and just celebrate with us. These young people you see in the picture, they are running the show. I'll be there, but they're running the stations, the food, the toys, everything. This is a collective effort. This is also a way for me to teach these kids how to give back to their own in their community and how to make things happen. So if you guys are free this Saturday, 11 to 2 at Austin Town Hall, that's 5610 West Lake Street. All you have to do is show up. We just want to see smiles on kids' faces and help some families who may need it. So come and break bread with us and just take up space and get some resources as well for mental and behavioral health, because whether we believe it or not, it is affecting us and our communities very, very deeply. A lot of our people are struggling right now, and we need to be honest about where we are mentally. So let's do that.
I have a conference Saturday, so I won't be able to physically make it, but I've got this GoFundMe from the Root to Fruit Youth Foundation Facebook page. For my viewers, it is GoFundMe.com/Ruby Roses 85. I would not be there physically, but I would love to support you and your foundation, so you can expect my donation to support you in any way that I can. I believe in what you're doing. We are proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Aisha Oliver. Thank you for coming by my show, finally.
Yes, thank you. I love you. Thank you so much for thinking of me, too. I appreciate you.
No, not a problem at all. One day in next year, I'm probably going to do something geared towards our young African-American kids and youth. And I would love to partner with you, and let's make something happen. Let's do something big for our Black kids and our Black youth. Let's do something big. I want to partner with you on that.
Yes, let's do it. I can't do it by myself. Let's do it as a team.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I was finna say, clap your hands with me in the auditorium, but throw up some hearts if you're on Facebook for my girl, Miss Aisha Oliver, activist, Youth Foundation Director. She gonna be up there. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. Real soon. And also, before we get off of here, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that this Saturday at 12 noon is our the self-checkout shows pre-Christmas raffle. We still have tickets available. Tevin, I got yours coming. Apostle Oliver, I got yours coming. Anybody else that wants to purchase tickets, just reach out to me. I got them. We'll make sure you get them. They're only $2 per ticket and $20 for a book of tickets, which is 10 tickets. We want you to get your name in that bag so that you can have a chance at one of 3 prizes. The first prize is $750. The second prize is $500. And the third prize is $250. This Saturday, 12 noon, I will be doing that drawing. And from there, I'm traveling all the way to Ghana, West Africa, by way of Zoom. We do have our conference with our pastors who are the founders and leaders of In Covenant Ministries Fellowship. We are truly an international church. We have churches in West Africa. I can't tell you all the places because we got them all over the place. But this Saturday, we are going to be hosting a conference for our Ghana church. And it's called, just give me a second. Let me go back to it because I forgot. I forgot what the name of the doggone conference was. Pastors, don't kill me. I know y'all watching. It's called The Key to Living Your Best Life. And it's free. I will post the information. I will share that. If you all are available, I would love to have you all on there with me for this conference. It's an international conference this Saturday afternoon. Again, one more time before we go, tell us what you're doing Saturday.
This Saturday, Ruby's Roses at Austin Town Hall Park. That's 5610 West Lake Street from 11 to 2. Come out, enjoy some food, some fun, activities, and gifts for our kids. And this is just our way from root to fruit to Miss Ruby to the community. We want to make sure that everyone celebrates and has a happy holidays.
You got it. You heard it right here tonight. Let's support this young lady and her vision. And don't forget, my brothers, my sisters, you are important and you matter to us. You matter, you matter, you matter. If you are struggling with depression, if you're struggling with your mental health, if you're having thoughts and feelings of suicide, reach out to someone that you know, someone that you trust. If you don't trust anybody like that, you want to talk to somebody that you don't know. The number is right here to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. If you don't remember that, you can simply pick up your phone and dial 988, or you can text 988, and it will connect you to a trained counselor. We love you for real. Thank you so much, Aisha, for showing up with us tonight. We will be glad to have you back on at some point in the future, and we're looking forward to great things from you. Thanks for being on. And you guys, thank you for watching the Self-Checkout Show. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. See y'all.